Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back after the movie, and Brayton will be joining us very soon.
And here we have Zuma with the bosom of Miss Blue is on his hand.
Yes, for you see, it wasn't me, Tim Curry, who killed Miss
I
Blue.
suggest you nominate Kilo Khan as the new representative.
And I vote Wadsworth. Yeah.
Because everything can happen on Halloween at the
Halloween.
night train to Rockville, Phoenix.
Dracula, no.
Pretty great movie. I forgot to mention though John Carradine. I thought I'd save that as a surprise. I also forgot to mention the guy from Queen of Outer Space back there.
Yes, yeah, I noticed him at last. That was Paul Birch, who showed up in.
He's in a lot of Roger Corman movies.
Yes, yes, he is most well known as the older scientist who practically breeds the entire planet at the end of the Queen of Outer Space, and
And in this film, he breeds the West, but
yes,
we don't see that part.
with alien women, that part got deleted. So let me just say, so yeah, this movie, wow, much better than I was expecting because it's funny. You know how movies have kind of an an inaccurate reputation based on what people say about it, and this movie definitely suffers from it because I was always under the impression that this was a film about a coward who took all the credit, when in reality it's a much more complicated situation on all sides.
It's deeply layered.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I see what you're saying, and maybe people expect just the name, the man who shot Liberty Valance, who aren't familiar with the film at all. Maybe they expect a more typical Western.
Yeah.
And it has, it does have a lot of those moments, like you mentioned at the top, the showdown at the climax. But it's definitely carries a more melancholic streak at the end with various different strands, and
Yeah.
the guy who did the deed sort of fading off into the fading off in memory, and the only people who honor him are those who knew him.
Yeah, but like I said, it's a lot more complicated than that because again, I was always under the impression that it was John Wayne who saved the day, but it was, well, he still saves the day sort of from the
He
shadows.
saves Jimmy Stewart's ass. But,
yeah, but it was Jimmy Stewart who kind of took all the credit or something. But in reality, no, it is a much more complicated situation. And there are two things I want to say. Oddly enough, you know what this movie kind of reminded me of?
Don't say Gamera versus Jiger.
No.
It reminded me of Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
Yeah, it was weird when Liberty Valance impregnated John Wayne and had to go inside his body, him and James Stewart and Poppy. No.
That happened in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back?
No, well, actually, we'll save Jay and Silent Bob for maybe a guilty pleasure month, but but no, this movie heavily reminded me, and believe it or not, it kind of gave me a little bit of a the Legend of Sleepy Hollow vibe. Because
I've never seen that.
Yeah, in this, well, you know, the Headless Horseman, that tale.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know Ichabod and
Yes,
that stuff.
yeah.
Are you're talking about just the story in general?
Yeah, because in a
Okay.
sense, yeah, James Stewart is in the Ichabod role. John Wayne is oh god, the big beefy dude, Brom.
Brahms.
Yes, yeah, the town's bully slash sweetheart. And then of course, I guess you could say Liberty Valance is sort of the Headless Horseman, except, you know, in a sense, the roles are kind of changing a bit. And when the movie started, I kind of had the feeling it was going to be something like that. You know, like this cowardly weenie comes in and stirs up the hornet nest. But no, I'm so glad.
No, he's a very altruistic character, and
Yeah.
it's honestly for the best that the legend is what's remembered.
Yes. But no, here's the funny thing. Like I said, it's way more complicated. You know, the characters are way more complicated. And yeah, you're right. John Wayne definitely showed, you know, he can do some real acting in this one.
Yeah,
But
and appear weak and appear flawed.
yeah, but no, that's the thing. I think people generally, people who've given like the wrong impression of this movie to me, who said that yeah, this one's kind of a stinker or something, are people who kind of prefer John Wayne as, you know, the tough macho man and unstoppable guy. So in this
And he
film,
played, he does show a lot of the typical John Wayne traits in this.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's just given a better a more well, a richly defined character,
Yeah,
or
but
a character with more shades of gray.
yes, but in his own unfortunate way, and I do have to mention this, he is sort of a bit of a bully in his own right, and a bit of a coward in his own right. Granted, he's nowhere near as bad as Liberty Valance, the horrid monster of a man in human
The
form.
Biff Tannen of our
Yes,
film.
Hey, dude, butthead.
yeah, not as fun as Biff Tannen. It's like I'd rather hang out
Yeah.
with Mad Dog than Liberty Valance.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Lee Marvin didn't get dumped in a vat of shit,
yeah.
manure dumped on his head.
Yeah, but no, it's funny because he doesn't want to deal with Liberty Valance in public. They make the threats and they come close. But ultimately, he had to end up killing Liberty Valance from the shadows. Something that he, ultimately comes to regret, but he doesn't, he's not too bitter about it, unfortunately.
And Stoddard, James Stewart's character, really
Yeah.
struggles with being, hoisted up on a pedestal for that deed.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because Stoddard, he's brave. He goes and faces against Liberty Valance in person,
Despite being very anti-gun, anti-violent.
Well, no. He steps up when he needs to step up. But here's the big unfortunate problem with his character. If the Duke is the mighty cowboy who's secretly kind of a coward and a minor bully in his own right, James Stewart is the brave, idealistic man who's also a pathetic weenie.
I wouldn't call him a pathetic weenie.
No. It's like I know I'm kind of horribly simplifying it, and again, I think this is probably one of the reasons why people who generally hate this movie or misremember this movie don't go about it that way. But no, it's interesting that they're both characters who have really strong elements to them. But they also have, it's almost yin and yang having to work together against this bigger threat. And James Stewart, again, he's smart, he's good-hearted, he's brave in his own right, but again, he's a stick figure, and who can barely hold a pop gun.
Yeah.
And then of course the Duke, it's like the most telling scene.
But he can sure knock the Duke on his ass.
Yeah.
that's the thing I always come back to.
Yes. And the Duke, he's brave, he's strong, he knows how to handle a pistol, and and the people can get behind him. But at the same time, he doesn't want to face Liberty Valance for his own sad reasons.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because it's like together these people take down this unfortunate villain, but it's not done in a perfect way. It's done in a rather complicated and sad way, and it's not like, and it's funny too because you got to print this is the West, you print the legend. But I think only because I don't think anybody would be angry at the truth, but they would definitely be kind of greatly disappointed, if not confused by the truth. And it's funny.
Muddle everyone's spirits.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is it? There's this YouTuber named Kaz Rowe. That's she's really good at talking about little known and kind of offbeat history. In fact, she has this great video that talks about the truth behind the Winchester Mansion. And she revealed a lot of really interesting things that no one else revealed. But that's something that we can talk at length another day. But no, she brings up all these facts that history is usually way more complicated than we want to give it credit to. And people either alter it to simplify it, to romanticize it while simplifying it, or to do some kind of terrible propaganda. For example, people of the 1920s they had a lot of their own problems, but to kind of make themselves feel a lot better, that's where we would get a lot of fiction and myths about how horrible the Victorians were. And ironically, the Victorians wanted to make their culture look a lot better to the world, so they made a lot of unfair myths and legends about the medieval times. So it's sort of like, so I think it's a situation like that, and in a sense it is.
Well, that's definitely what the 20th century did with the Western, the Old West. And I guess maybe that over time, we don't have Westerns anymore. The genre's kind of died out.
It's still there, but it's not as prominent as it used to be.
No, and the 20th century myth of the Old West, where we turned these people into, allegorical godlike figures, people like, and villains too, people like Jesse James and Wyatt Earp and people of that ilk. You viewed in a certain sort of hindsight, despite what the history books may tell you nowadays with all the information present now.
Yes, and granted, like, the Old West was pretty nasty. That cannot be said. That goes without saying. but there was a lot of different nuances and bits of history that does tend to get forgotten. Like you said, we uplift our heroes and villains to godlike stature, that we tend to forget about the smaller players who helped in either defeating or bringing up these individuals.
Like Mr. Peabody.
Yeah. Oh God, Edmund
Played
O'Brien.
beautifully by Edmund O'Brien.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him at first, but
I
holy
never recognized him. I've seen this movie probably 10 times. I've seen it since I was a kid. Even when we watched stuff like DOA, and when I was getting into the movies he is in, it took me by such surprise that, oh my God, that's him, because it's such like a departure in a good way. I'm applauding his acting talent.
Yeah, and he almost steals the show, both with the acting and the character in general, because when he gets beaten up, I honestly was like...
It is so sad.
Yeah, I honestly got afraid, oh no, this wonderful character is going to be our sacrificial lamb. But of course, even if he did die, which he didn't, thankfully, he has that great... That would have been a great final line. It's like, I showed him the freedom of the press.
Ooh, this is the great milkshake ever.
But no, getting back to that history is always misrepresented, whether it's simplified or propagandized. You're right. Unfortunately, most likely because of the Hays Code and some of the nasty stuff responsible for the Hays Code, a lot of the nuances and lesser truths of the Old West were kind of buried under the rug. Like, again, going back to Kaz Rowe and a lot of really good documentaries, both mainstream and independent, based on the Old West, it was a lot more diverse of people and different lifestyles than we want to think it to be. Like, again, going back to our good friend the gay cowboy, there was a lot more of those walking about than people want to admit to. Or that, of course, there was a lot of black and Asian cowboys back then, and Hispanics, most definitely, and and of course there was a lot of white people. It was a rainbow color of the Old West that allowed the settlers to go about. But when we got to like the McCarthy era or like the 50s and all the propaganda there,
only one type of person was depicted prominently.
Yeah, this straight white dude.
Yeah.
And no women either. So, and granted, this movie does touch upon some of the nasty truths of the age, like when Poppy comes in to see his friend in the main bar, and none of the Mexicans are allowed in the main bar, and the fact that none of the women are allowed.
and the bartender even tells I don't serve.
Yeah, it's like, not now. This is we just mayhem.
Can I say my favorite moment around that part, though, dealing with the Mexican characters, are when Liberty Valance is being carted away and they're having a fiesta as they're dragging his la 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 la.
I think, like, no offense to Andres, but I think he would agree that like if somebody...
That was me after election night 2020.
Yeah, so, but no, it's funny. Yeah, this movie is way more complex and deep than I imagined it to be. There is one problem, though.
Yeah.
One kind of huge plot hole.
Okay.
But do you want me to keep it for later? Or do you want me to share it now?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, this is the Old West. Why hasn't anyone else shot Liberty Valance? like okay, metaphorically and in subtext, it works beautifully. Liberty Valance himself, great performance from Lee Marvin, thank you.
Great performance from Lee Van Cleef, though he doesn't have much to do.
Oh yeah. No, he definitely stuck out for his little role too. So
his beady eyes.
Yeah. No, it's like behind every villain there's a strong henchman, and he definitely felt it that way. The toady guy, fuck that dude.
Yeah.
He killed Liberty Valance. It wasn't fair.
Well, if you're saying practically why no one has shot Liberty Valance, that's one thing. But he's a villain. The story needed a force, and so, but and he just ruling over the town by fear.
Yeah, but no. Here's the thing, though. Granted, story wise, and for not the emotional, but for the kind of not surreal. What's the word I'm looking for? Symbolic. The symbolic meaning to the whole story. Yes, Liberty Valance had to be a larger than life villain, that one who is pretty nasty. It's like Lee Marvin does an extremely good job in the role. But at the same time, it's like in real life, there's a lot of like horrible outlaws like that who were such menaces to towns that they just mysteriously disappeared among the mornings when the town folks had other ideas. And there's a lot of like hilarious stories of like all these like large larger than life villains who mysteriously had very short careers, and the towns they disappeared all act like we don't know what happened. So yeah, and like I know they cast a lot, they made this town pretty, filled with elderly people and wackaloons, but in hindsight it's like, yes, I'm surprised there wasn't like a town riot at the end, and Liberty Valance and the Toady guy were, hanged at
Chased
the
him like
stake.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, exactly. Liberty Valance like, I thought this would go better. They let Lee Van Cleef leave. He's got a whole career of his own to do. But yeah, that's just the one little issue. Well, it's kind of a big issue, but
we're watching the legend, Raph, not watching real life.
The legend of Liberty Valance himself.
Yeah. Oh, one line. He was a dick.
Yeah. Oh, poor innocent man. Fuck you, Dracula. We know who he was.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you about Liberty Valance. He went to hell.
How does he like that, fancy pants?
I like it. Makes a good story.
Coleman Francis, no.
But yeah,
But,
no, I just wanted to mention that because that was kind of in the back of my head, like halfway into it, when Liberty Valance came in and just started roughing up everybody. It's like, you all got guns. There's not very patient, wonderful Mexicans across the street. Somebody had to get them beforehand.
Well, Raph, you've mentioned at the start you just haven't explored the vast majority of Westerns yet. You're going to have an awful time with a lot of Westerns because that thought's going to be running through your head the majority of the time.
Yeah, but no.
Well, he's the biggest, baddest. He's the heel. He's the heavy. You gotta have that.
Yeah, no, it works great on a story wise. But I just wanted to bring that up before Cinema Sins or some asshole goes like, oh, it's like everyone has to go. Why hasn't anyone shot him since? So my late friend Mark Tucker, like God bless his soul, he had the same reaction whenever we watched a movie, and it's like, well, somebody just kill this guy already.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, but no. Other than that problem, though, the movie is really good, and I was honestly surprised how deep it actually is, and why I don't think nobody represents.
It's probably the most political Western I can recall seeing too.
There's probably way more political Westerns, but I think this one
just that I remember seeing, and it's especially the last half of it. Like I mentioned at the start, basically Mr. Smith goes to Shinbone.
Now, okay, you're right. Now I see it. It.
Yeah. It's and as where John Wayne's concerned, it's sort of weirdly progressive, all things considered, as far as his, when compared to like his off-screen persona. He's really kind of good. Like, I don't think he does get his due. He can be an actual fascinating character instead of just the strolling into town, kicking open the saloon and taking out the baddies kind of type of character.
Yeah, no, he has some really good subtle moments here and there.
Yeah.
Like,
again, and later in his career, he's delved more into those type of roles, like this,
True Grit, and
True Grit and the Shootist and the Cowboys, where it's basically he becomes a father to a band of Ewoks. Complicated.
All right, you little weird alien pilgrim teddy bears. I'm going to show you how to hold a laser gun. No, this is a new toy. I can't wait to play with.
Yeah, that's the famous one where Bruce Dern, spoiler alert, kills him in the movie. And then in real life, Bruce Dern was hounded for like decades after that for, you shot John Wayne.
Yeah, didn't John Wayne ask for Bruce Dern to be one of the cast members of The Shootist?
If I recall correctly, that was probably up to him.
Yeah. Okay. Poor Bruce Dern. He got the Nurse Hatchet.
He got the Nurse Hatchet treatment. Yes, yeah. He got the Rose Tico treatment far before.
Yeah. It's too bad that is Bruce Dern still alive, because let's get him and the actress who plays the Rose Tico and have him do a buddy movie where it's the father and his adopted daughter, and they fight cowboy ghosts. Okay. Just spitballing ideas here, Brayton.
Emphasis on spit.
Ballin'.
But we were talking about heavies. Also, a quick shout out to the heaviest of them all, Andy Devine as the Marshal. Who I really do enjoy the film's narrative framing of it all being, or 80% of it being a flashback. But when you're introduced to him at the start, you're saying, oh, this is a nice, kindly teddy bear sort of a character who rides her out to the country and is showing her around. And then when he comes on screen in the past, he's basically the Cowardly Lion with a cowboy hat.
Yeah, but no, again, every character in this movie have different layers to them, and it really
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. Like I love how his character, we, it's like they all meet. You know, they're when in the present day, they're all kind of melancholy and sad about it, but they all
Mhm.
love each other, and know each other. So you do get a sense that there is family there.
Yeah, and
And then,
history.
and you see, yeah, he's like the Cowardly Lion. He starts out rather pathetic. You know, it's still funny though because Andy
Yeah.
Devine is really good at comedy. But then it's like, when things get seriously, he cleans himself up. You notice that he slightly shaved himself, like just before the night of the confrontation. And then after Peabody, his friend, gets brutally beaten, he walks in there and he doesn't, he doesn't tell Liberty Valance, oh yeah, Stanton is out. Is that right? John Stewart,
Stoppard.
James
Stoddard.
Stoddard. Stoddard's out there. No, he tells him, you kill him, that's cold blood. And it's like, he tried to threaten him in his own right. So yeah, he grew a backbone. And and like the Cowardly Lion, after Liberty Valance was dead, it was, ding dong, Lee,
Yeah.
Lee Marvin's dead. Lee Marvin.
Yeah, I love the coroner there. Kicks him over, takes his look at beard, dead. Leaves.
Yeah. And like you said, the Mexicans celebrate.
Yeah. And there was much rejoicing.
Yes.
Yay.
So, but yeah, no, and it's like, yeah, no, really, really good movie. I'm kind of happy. I'm both kind of sad I never saw this movie well beforehand, and I only let the misrepresentation of the movie guide my judgment.
Yeah.
Because yeah, seriously, there are people out here who honestly I've known who hate this movie, and I can see
That's
why.
ridiculous. That's kind of ridiculous to me. I think that.
Don't
See, I
forget,
watched
I
when I
used
was.
to work in construction with assholes.
It is it's an atypical western, and it is slower paced. So I could understand some people maybe finding it, well, there's no cowboy horse chases or something stupid like that. But I
There's
watched
too
this when
much
I was.
intellectualism in this. I want cowboys kissing. When is James Stewart and John Wayne gonna get it on? I'm Sam
I don't know.
Elliott.
I don't know if they have that kind of chemistry, but anyway, as I was saying, as a kid, I watched this when I was like maybe 12. I found that I sort of gravitated towards more slower character-driven films because I think I've
Mhm.
mentioned on stream before I have ADD. So watching slower, older movies kind of helped, draw my attention to something.
Oh, good. Good.
But even now, I think it's a very deeply layered movie and one of the most deconstructive and sort of meta's not the right word, but just complicated in a good way stories. And a lot of that has to do with the characters and the acting. But I enjoy the direction of it too. John Ford did a marvelous job, and I mentioned at the start he's more known for the sweeping Western portraits and landscapes. And the town in this is very, sort of typically. The movie was shot rather cheaply,
Yeah.
and shot in black and white, and that's the Western town is very much your typical
Set.
movie Western town, set town. I think it was filmed all indoors at Paramount. But I think that kind of adds like a element to sort of the storybook falsity of the Old West too, and the juxtaposition between that and the sort of deconstructive nature of the story. I think that I really can't imagine anybody disliking it. So I don't know if that probably all just has to do with people thinking, whatever about Jimmy Stewart's character, that he's a coward. I just don't really get that.
I think that's just the general prejudice against this film. People instantly it's like, what is it? There's been times where people I remember one time there was a conversation in a library and somebody was asking about Weisburn Library and I used to hang around the Weisburn Library a lot. Somebody was asking about the movie and then his friend just replied, "Oh yeah, Jimmy Stewart takes the credit for shooting a guy and John Wayne suffers for it." And that's kind of true, in only like the most sparse details imaginable.
Yeah, but in like in a meme kind of way, where it's like describe a film badly or something. Like you see the things about.
Thank you. That's
like
exactly.
About the Wizard of Oz. Like girl comes in, kills somebody, gets gifted and leaves. But no, the movie's like it's first and foremost like a commentary on the Western itself and all the archetypes and meanings of it, and it examines contradiction between hero and legend. So it's not that damn simple.
Yeah,
much like real life.
Yeah, and it also does, like, I don't know if this was the intent of the filmmakers, but it also brings up the fact that when facing against a great evil, there's always a lot of terrible hurdles to go around. Because as terrible as Liberty Valance himself was, which is now thinking about, that's like the most ironic name for a villain who wants to keep.
I know,
Yeah.
it's the greatest name.
Vote for me, Liberty
Liberty
Valance.
Valance.
I'll make sure everything runs not Liberty.
Yeah. Vote for me, Freedom McHuggies. Freedom McHugs and kisses.
Oh, here comes Freedom make hugs and kisses. I just killed 1,000 children with my bare hand. Ooh, he's false advertising there. No, I was wondering if, again, if it was the intent of the filmmakers, because, fighting against evil, and I might be talking from an emotional point here, because let's face it, we're in the post-Trump world, and Mamma Mia. It's a battle. Even
I think the movie feels very contemporary.
Very contemporary. Because not only do we have like Lee Marvin's character after he's taken out, you still got to deal with Dracula and Longhorn.
Not defenders and not supporters. There's an apologists.
Apologists, like and villains in their own right. It's like, for crying out, Longhorn himself. I was gonna write in the text the joke. Oh my goodness, it's the villain from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. He's become live action. But it's hilarious how they kind of made him almost a character in his own right, especially when he's just standing there with like the rope as a halo and him like goes.
I know, it's so silly.
Pay for me.
Now the cast of Hee Haw.
Oh no, not the cast of Hee Haw. That's my terrible impression of Longhorn. That's why he didn't talk.
Terry Thomas.
Oh no, dueling Terry Thomases. What do you think about this? Welcome to the movie Graveyard Shift. I'm Terry Thomas, and what's your name, my co-host?
Hugs and kisses, smooch my buttocks.
He shoots people. I was hoping you were going to do another Terry Thomas. We just talked
Hasselbach.
Indeed. Why is it so cold between my teeth? Anyway,
Oh yeah, because he's got a giant gap in his teeth.
Oh yeah. So that's where they you remember the famous sequence in
He's got a giant gap there, and he's got a giant Abercrombie and Fitch and a giant Hollister, a giant American Eagle right there in his teeth. He's a shopping mall.
Yeah, that scene in the James Bond film where the jet flies through the studio doors. That wasn't a set. That was Terry Thomas' teeth.
like the front of a funhouse.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so that's okay. Sorry about that. We love Terry Thomas here. So.
Yeah. Terry Thomas never did a Western. Anyhow.
Yeah, that wouldn't it be. Yeah, it's like if he didn't have his health problems, wouldn't it have been great if there was like a hilarious Disney Western, like The British Dandy in the Old West. Oh my god, I've never fired a gun before. Yeah.
I would just want to get Sam Elliott's opinion on it.
I like it. I like dandies very much. Will he kiss Don Knotts? I want to know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, Sam Elliott. You seem like a nice guy outside your offense against certain cowboy films. The dude. So, but no. Where were we? Sorry, I got into a tangent with Terry Thomas.
The movie and the political character and John Carradine and
because they already got rid of like the more prominent violent evil, but unfortunately they got to deal with the people who
bureaucratic evil.
Yeah, the bureaucratic evil, and I know it. I'm glad it's never stated outright if these people really did hire Liberty Valance. For all we know, Liberty Valance was bad news, regardless if you hired him or not. Like he says, it's like, my home is wherever I hang my home.
Yeah, regardless of which side of the ranching line he was on.
Yeah, exactly. So, and probably because, now thinking about it, maybe he was against statehood because that would impede on a lot of his own criminal activities.
Yeah, probably ulterior motives.
Yeah, exactly. It's like homeowners in a rich neighborhood who doesn't want regulation on rent, so that they can, keep basically normal citizens out, or they don't want certain laws in place because they don't want to see, they prefer things kept the way they are for their own personal pleasure, even if their neighborhood is going to hell. So it might be a situation like that, but I'm glad that we don't know too much about Liberty Valance. And I have to ask you, was there ever like a remake of this movie?
Oh God, no, not that I know
Oh,
of.
thank goodness.
There have maybe have been stories that have lifted like just the structure of it or something, but no, not a flat out remake.
Hmm.
Aside from that song that I love, but because that's sort of, that I think it's sort of weirdly in a way sort of works with it because that could be a song told from a it's very up and very heroic sounding as opposed to the melancholy of the movie. But
Hmm.
I could picture that being like his campaign song that one of the townspeople wrote for him or something. It's very heroic and oh yes, he was the bravest of them all.
Hmm.
Um,
It's a good song, regardless
it
of
is a
its.
good song just to listen to. Yeah,
Yeah, I've added it to my playlist now. So,
yeah.
don't worry, not the Glue playlist. It's the Kate and Tabitha playlist. Hold your horses there, Pilgrim.
No.
Let me show you
I
how
just
to make a
googled this
music.
here.
Huh?
I just googled this here. This may sink our souls.
Oh
This and
no.
again, this is to be taken with a grain of salt. This is from March of 2019, so maybe it fell through. From Collider, the man who shot Liberty Valance remake in the works at Paramount. Uh,
Ooh.
Set in New York City in 1991.
Ooh.
Hey,
Just call it an original story and be done with it, okay?
don't call it a comeback. I've been here before. Yeah, don't make it. I hope that it's fallen through and we'll never hear from it. But from what this one article from a debatable source tells us, it was meant to be a not a direct remake, but a sort of like
Inspired by.
Yojimbo fistful of dollars type of thing. Yeah,
Okay, maybe that would work, but at the same time, I think this movie is so well done in its own right. I just fear, like, what is it? After watching Shop Around the Corner multiple times and then having to watch You Got Mail, I'm afraid it's going to be a situation like that, where it's like all the substance and really intelligent satire and human heart is just ripped out for something flippant and modern.
yeah,
So,
and it's just in its own right, it's just a complete piece of entertainment, and it needs to stand as a singular entity.
hmm.
Uh, um, and it's yeah, I find it beautiful. I really love the movie, and it does have a sort of bittersweet, solemn tone to it, but also a genial tone because the townspeople are just so damn likable.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, even at their worst, you still love the townspeople. With the,
yeah.
it's funny. It's the only person I despise was the little toady guy.
Yeah. Oh, hey, kill Liberty! I'd say we hang him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's like this is the constant annoying smile. He was like an annoying henchman in an anime show. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
this, like, yeah, anybody gonna shoot him next? it's I'm
I
cool.
gotta cart his ass out of there. Though.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
nice.
cool with Lee Van Cleef getting away. He's awesome.
Yeah, he'll be the villain and the man who didn't shoot Liberty Valance.
Yeah, I thought like
Or
yeah.
you could draw, if you want to do headcanon, you could say that his character from this movie went on to be the characters he plays in the Dollars trilogy.
I that's funny, but at the same time, I have not
He
seen
became a crooked marshal or in his own right,
I have
and
not seen A Few Dollars More, but I have a good idea his character isn't all that bad. So, and that they're
not in
not the
that
same
one. And Good, the
character.
Bad, and the Ugly though.
Yeah,
No,
no,
no.
oh yeah, no, in The Good and Bad and Ugly, he's a pure bastard.
Just
But
yeah, as of now, those movies are not a trilogy. They were completely separate pieces of film.
yeah, just
Um,
same actor, same director, but they were
yeah,
playing different characters and slightly different continuities. So
yeah.
it's like
Basically,
the
all about
Millennium
John
Godzilla
Ford's.
franchise.
Okay, I was gonna tie it in and say basically like John Ford's whole thing. He has a stock company and he works with them, but it's a different movie.
Or Wes Anderson. He always hires the same actors over and over again, but they're always playing different characters. So
It's not necessarily a cinematic universe, but it's just fun to play, mental pinball sometimes.
oh yeah, and plus Hollywood, well, filmmaking at its best, I should say. Screw Hollywood. I'm starting to lose less and less respect for Hollywood. Filmmaking in general is like
What about Bollywood?
I have not seen enough of Bollywood to tell
I've
you.
never had any respect for Bollywood.
Although I'm interested in seeing that movie where a guy beats up a tiger in midair while singing. So.
Oh, are you talking about RRR?
Yes, yeah, everyone's been recommending.
That's great.
Yes,
That's 3 hours long, but it's a great movie. The problem with it though is kind of the title because if you say RRR, you sound like you're doing an impression of a walrus or something.
yeah.
If you say rrr, it's like it's
What
like,
about
doesn't really work.
R?
Yeah, it could be a pirate movie.
Yeah, or R3. Why can't we call it R3?
Yeah. Triple R doesn't sound much better.
Yeah, that's true. So triple R for rim job.
Repeatedly rim job.
Oh, repeatedly rim roughed. Okay.
Yes. Speaking of which,
I'm Sam Elliott. I approve of this tonight's conversation.
yeah.
I like it very much. Okay, sorry about it, Sam.
But I find it to be a very sweet film, and Vera Miles too. Her character is
Oh yeah.
Hallie.
Oh yeah, even the lesser roles are all really well done because it's like what is it like
Top to bottom, they're incredibly acted.
yeah, Vera Mills, she's great in this. You really do instantly fall in love with her character. And that very sweet moment where it's like she's holding a book and it's like I can't read or write.
Yeah.
And it's like and rightfully she
And,
is
and she's very embarrassed, and then Jimmy Stewart, his eyes light up. I'll teach you.
will you? So and it's so cute too. It's like when characters are talking throughout the movie and Jimmy Stewart can't help himself to correct them, and it's like, oh yeah, he's still the teacher too, so he has to correct himself. So, but yeah, it is a story of two very reluctant heroes trying to save this crummy but wonderful little town from terrible evils, both direct, Liberty Valance himself, and indirect, Dracula and the oh god, whatever, Smiley from the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. But yeah, no, I honestly had a lot of fun with this movie. It's like, yeah, it is, like you said, melancholy, and it is a lot more dramatic, but I wasn't bored or depressed. There were some moments that did kind of, boil my blood, because it's like, don't do this to Jimmy Stewart.
That's the scene in the restaurant where they have the whole confrontation and Jimmy Stewart body slams a steak. That's got to be one of the most tensest scenes in old Hollywood movie. You can cut the air like with a butter knife, as you would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, a lot of it is a very tense movie, because when you finally get and to think that had John Wayne not did what he did, regardless if he could be considered, because regardless, yeah, I know that these old West movies and even just general American mentality is, oh, you never shoot a person in the back, you never you never play dirty, you got to take out the guy in the right way. But let's face it, when something's that dangerous and that harmful, it needs to be taken down. So it is a great tragedy that, John Wayne and James Stewart's character, Tom and Ransom, they saved the day in their own rights. But but at the same time, if they didn't do it together, even though it wasn't working together, Liberty Valance would have succeeded, and that town would have been, kaput.
Senator Valance.
Yeah. So there's this Trump guy trying to take my spot. Well, I don't think so. And we get to Lee Marvin just bum rushing all the MAGA supporters. It's like
well, that's a happy ending.
Yeah. Is it, Brayton? Is it? Now that I took them out, it's time to declare war on the universe. Liberty Valance space.
I say he shot Liberty Valance like a dog in the street. What are we gonna do about it?
I agree. Let's get our spaceships, little toady guy. Oh god, but yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with that. And again, why are these older movies better at just being good entertainment regardless? Because you don't get this kind of swirl or variety of emotions and characters anymore from modern movies. They're too comical, too dark. Like, what's that about?
Well, like I said, my opinion on some of it is that movies from this period were very, not formulistic, but formalistic. Like there was such an emphasis on honing your craft and, putting everything into the production and not flying by the seat of your pants, that they were very meticulous in their craft when it comes to all stages of production, writing, actual production, acting. Everyone was a professional at the highest standard. And yes, that I'm not saying that there weren't really awful movies from this time. Of course there were. But the ones that I remembered are really professionally done on all accounts. Then you get into the fall of the early studio system and independent film rising. You got a lot of great things that came out of that, new, more expressive voices and new ways to tell stories and whatnot. But I think that kind of began the snowball of people just, not being professional and doing whatever and calling it a movie, that there became a lower and lower standard over time for what companies or studios will produce. Because it just got out of control with, what consists of a great story.
Yeah, and also let's like around this time in the '60s, there were some major Hollywood flops that practically almost destroyed the whole industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
been big, yeah, big budget flops, and
Hmm.
right up until like from Cleopatra to Heaven's Gate in the '70s, that pretty much put the nail in the coffin for the old way of doing things.
Yeah, I always
Um,
assumed Heaven's. Just a quick aside, I always assumed Heaven's Gate was like an independent production that just happened to have studio money behind it.
but it had a lot of studio money behind it.
Mm.
And that its reputation is very. I don't think Heaven's Gate is a bad movie,
Mm-hmm.
but just because of how it sank everything,
Mm-hmm.
its reputation is sort of garnered of the unspeakable. Uh,
Yes.
sort of like a what's that comedy movie that Elaine May wrote that everybody hates with Dustin Hoffman? Ishtar, like kind of like an
Oh.
Ishtar scenario.
Okay.
But
I
because
see now.
because Ishtar is not necessarily terrible, but again, the reputation precedes it. Um,
Yeah, I remember I saw Ishtar a long time ago as a little kid. It used to air all the time on HBO and the
it's
parents
dumb
were.
and not great, but it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like all that money wasted for what is basically just a mid-level movie. So.
Yeah, yeah. The money put on screen is not evident anywhere. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
the reason I just think that I tend to prefer older films are because of how well crafted they are, like a fine piece of art, as opposed to, when nowadays how much avant-garde art has got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
I think avant-garde was a good thing in filmmaking, when that started to emerge, but I just think it snowballed out of control to where there's just too many kids in the pool, and when there's everybody in the pool, everybody's doing stupid crap.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, and also very corporatized. Because it's funny. This movie's made on a small budget, but they were able to get away with a lot. And I think we need to return to like mid budget movies, because for a
Yeah,
while it was getting ridiculous, where every movie was like 50 million to 100 million for like a
yeah.
basic
And you don't
comedy.
see any of it on the screen.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, you're not talking about Marvel movies. You're talking about just a studio film these days.
yeah, exactly. And we don't live in that world anymore. We're kind of slowly seeing lower productions. I shouldn't say lesser productions, but lower productions coming back and actually making bank, because the stories are generally good, or people just generally enjoy them for what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Problem is, though, just a lot of those are banished to the streaming services.
yeah, that is true. They get lost to the streaming service. But yeah, it's like, what is it? The success of Megan recently, which I know is, it's a horror movie about a killer robot kid. which is the sign of quality as far as the man who shot Liberty Valance is concerned. But
Yeah.
but no, it's nice to see like smaller time movies like that actually kind of make waves now. And but yeah, no, I was like, if this wasn't a lower budget movie, you think they wouldn't have gone away with a lot of the story decisions and character decisions they did with this film?
I don't know if it was hindered, but I think if, like, for example, if it were shot in color, I think it would be much lesser. Like, I think that
Mm.
would detract from the story.
Yeah, it would
Um,
also take away from a lot of the mood and setting to it too.
yeah, the black and white cinematography is just so stark, and like that scene where Liberty Valance and his cronies show up in Mr. Peabody's, how he basically lights the lamp in that great reveal.
Uh huh.
Just a lot of the beautiful shots from the film would be diminished, and I just think it would hurt the tone of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if it would be uh, not a great film if more money had been put into it. I just think with the great directors, I mean, you look at Psycho 2, that brings out something, an extra level in the director then, because you have to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that simplifies the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of getting tongue tied because I'm kind of getting tired, but uh,
Okay, well, we'll end it pretty soon. I kind of wanted to have more conversation, but there's some quick things I do want to say. Woody
yeah,
Strode, who plays
Pompey.
Poppy, yeah, he is a character who has been in a lot of. He's an actor who's been in a lot of movies, but he was always playing a
Oh yeah.
heavy or a side character. Yeah, it's like he's
Well,
perhaps.
he's in there's a movie called The Professionals, which I think about 5 years before The Wild Bunch, but it's
Mm-hmm.
basically the same sort of story. Men on a mission down in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
with Lee Marvin as the main guy, and he's
Hmm.
phenomenal in that. That's another great movie I'd like to do on here.
I would be
Um,
up for it. It's like you said, Lee Marvin and this guy, and it's like, oh, hell yeah, and 66. It's like, yes,
yeah,
let's do it.
yeah, but
So.
Woody Strode, he does have he is a primarily a Western actor, and I mentioned several times tonight, Once Upon a Time in the West. He's in that first 15 minutes of that big set piece at the beginning that everyone remembers, where
Mm-hmm.
harmonica comes into town on a train.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys there with Jack Elam. But no, he's for the part that he has in this too. He's very, well cast and does a great job.
Yeah, and he has a very striking look. I can see like he's
Yeah,
probably
I think
most.
he was. I think he was an athlete.
Oh yeah,
He was
that's
a.
right. Yeah, it's on his Wikipedia page here. Yeah, I'm cheating. Deal with it, people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you
Was
deal
he?
with
Was
it.
he? Was he football?
No, no, I think it says here he was a wrestler.
Oh.
He had a professional wrestling and a football career. Holy crap.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
I thought football. I didn't know about the wrestling part. That's scary.
Yeah, so but no,
He's
straight
also in Spartacus too. I forgot
Yes, that's
Spartacus.
what I was going to say. Yeah, his most famous role as far as just general public goes is as I think the name of the gladiator is Darba or Dreba.
Yeah, the guy who refuses to kill Kirk Douglas and then
Yeah,
pays for it.
and it's a shame too because I would have loved to seen those two like team up and you have
I
a kick
know,
ass.
taking over everything and yeah.
Yeah, so and he was also in the Italian Connection, which I is that a good movie or
I haven't seen the Italian Connection. That's the sequel to the French Connection.
I think so. That or was an I think it's okay. Looking at it, I think it's an Italian movie that was inspired by the French Connection, so it
Oh,
might
okay.
not
I
be
haven't seen
good.
it. I've seen the
So.
Italian Job, but
Okay.
that's not
Okay,
the same
that's
thing.
where I got confused. I thought, okay, Italian Job and Italian Connection are
No,
two
the
separate things.
yeah, the Italian Job is the Michael Caine movie.
Okay, then. Or that's another one I haven't seen.
Oh.
Okay, I thought you were
Yeah,
going to go
only
crazy.
supposed to blow the bloody doors off. That's a quote. That's a heist movie.
Okay, so yes. Oh my goodness. But yeah, and who hell else in this? Yeah, no. Getting back to Andy Devine, he is perhaps best known to modern audiences as the voice of Friar Tuck from Disney's Robin Hood film.
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't seen that since I was a little kid either.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a fun little movie for what it is, all things considering. So. All right, but no, very good movie, Brayton. And sorry I got you later. Had I known that we would have done this earlier.
No, it's not. No, it's not your fault. I just had a really long day
With babies.
with babies. Yes, playing babysitter Brayton. That kind of took out of me, but it was nice to sort of kick back and watch this with you. Yeah. If that ever happens in the future, we'll schedule it for the day after or something. But no, nevertheless, I enjoyed talking about it and I enjoyed finally watching it with you. I know I've been pushing it on you forever. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And again, I'm glad that it's like even though I wish I saw this movie earlier, I'm also happy we kept it as an episode for the movie Graveyard Shift.
Yeah, we got to talk about it on this, and I think I should just recently. This film was sort of made prominence in Steven Spielberg's new movie, The Fabelmans. He goes to see it early in the film with his friends. The Sammy character, who's basically Steven Spielberg, and then at the end of the movie, he has a meeting with John Ford in his office, and you're revealed whose office it is by a poster of this film. So it's still relevant. And David Lynch plays John Ford in the movie quite brilliantly, I should mention.
Hey, kid, you want to make pictures?
That's all the advice. Get out.
Yeah, get the fuck out of my office. No, it's tremendous. And I think I love both this Once Upon a Time in the West. Very different movies. I think that one is a series of great set pieces, though. It feels a lot more fragmented, where this is a much more just like airtight, perfect story all around.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd be a great movie to watch if you even have someone who doesn't like westerns, period. Like it's like, I don't want to watch Gunsmoke. I think this would be a good movie to show them because it is much more of a human drama.
Yeah, no,
and a love story, and it has all these elements in a fight and a rising up against evil story. It has a political element. It's a bunch of things going.
Yeah,
for it.
it's a very good like you said, it's a very good character piece, and it's a very nice drama without being overly depressing about it. So something that unfortunately we'll get.
Yeah, I'll take a lot of I'll take some a dose of melancholy in my feel good movies every now and then.
Oh yeah, bittersweet melancholy. That's a great combination as far as I'm concerned. I think we need more bittersweetness and melancholy. It's like like the recent. Have you seen the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio movie?
I haven't seen that yet. I want to save that for the fully endorsed thing that Andres wants to read, but I have not seen it, though I really, really want to.
Okay, yeah, no, I highly recommend that, and it's like I'm glad I'm glad that movie exists, especially in this age where there's no good Pinocchio movies.
Yeah, Guillermo seems to handle that well with things like Pan's Labyrinth and Shape of Water.
Yeah, to be
He
fair,
seems to balance the melancholy with the fantasy and the wonder.
yeah,
well.
yeah. To be fair, though, I am going to say this. A lot of people say that he's sort of a one-trick pony, but to be fair, he's been working on this Pinocchio movie so long, and I think you do see shades of him kind of breaking out of his usual story conventions to do something slightly different. So, and I really do want to see more work from Guillermo del Toro.
You want to see me what? That was the funniest, most hurtful thing you said that one time. I love him, but he's not a great presenter. I mean, he just waddles in out of the dark.
I'm okay. I love Del Toro, but no, he is not. He is no Rod Serling. It's it's like a wind up penguin comes out of the darkness. It's like, hey everybody, I like things. So this one's directed by this guy. It has some kooky monsters. Bye.
Could you imagine when Alfred Hitchcock Presents would start? It's that great intro with him sort of like him waddling out of the darkness, but then he opens his mouth. Hey everybody, you want some chicken?
No, I can imagine. Imagine Alfred Hitchcock, but he's like rolling in on the giant rubber ducky from Batman Returns, and it's like, hello everyone.
Can I imagine him on a pogo stick?
Sure.
Okay. Can I imagine Andy Devine on a pogo stick?
Sure you can.
Can I imagine John Wayne on a pogo stick? And that's why I walk like this.
Oh my God, this pogo stick's so scary.
Clarence,
Yeah.
I don't want a pogo.
Okay, so
Final word
final words. Oh yeah.
on the movie.
I highly recommend it, although it's definitely a movie I think you should go in cold.
Yeah.
Doomzilla, Goji Shay, if you guys want to share your final thoughts on the Liberty Valance, sorry I didn't read your other comments. We're both a little on the tired side here. But no, I'm so happy I finally had a chance to watch this and judge it on my own without hearing kind of the weird biases and misinformation that usually surrounds this weird movie.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it now the title has a lot heavier meaning towards it. Although granted, I don't think the character should have been so sad with that final line at the end of the movie. It's like
nothing's been too good for the man who shot Liberty Valance.
Yeah. Well, they didn't need to feel guilty about it, but yeah, it is a bit of a bittersweet sting there. It's like, poor Tom deserved better. So yeah, I remember.
I'll never escape it. After I wanted to come back, they still only know me for Dirty McCruption.
Hopefully that will change, but if not, hey, we got this show.
Say the line, Raph.
No.
How you doing? Yeah,
You son of a bitch. Well, actually, I never met your mom, so I'm sorry about that.
I will try to keep it that way.
Yeah.
But no, I'm very glad I could finally watch it with you, and it wasn't a disappointment. I'm glad you didn't spoil yourself by watching reaction videos or anything.
Oh, I still want to see Ashley Burton's.
Prior to seeing it yourself.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be. I'm really interested to see how she reacts to this movie too. I bet she'll
Oh
be like,
boy, he shot him in the belly.
No, it's like, oh my God, John Wayne did shoot Liberty Valance. Oh my God. So she's pretty good with older movies. I don't think she's ever hated any older films, and maybe one or two.
Well, I'm glad. And what's the name of her channel?
Ashley Burton.
Just her name? Okay.
Yeah, it's just her name. But yeah, no, it's pretty funny. When we post this on YouTube, I'll definitely share that video along with some of the other videos we've mentioned. So like,
yeah, I'll try to. Yeah, after I edit it, I'll try to do actual show notes for some of these things that we mentioned.
Yeah,
links to articles or videos or whatever.
Okay, yeah. But to read Doomzilla, final thoughts. This is a very good Western that still holds up very well. And
I like your little announcer voice there.
Oh, thank you. And Goji Shay says this was a good character study framed within a Western. So
we're gonna have to play us out since I don't have anything really. We're gonna show a quick video of Peter Bogdanovich, the late great director Peter Bogdanovich, talking about the movie. And he knew everybody involved, so I think that would be a good thing to play us out with his opinion on it, his take on it.
Yes.
It's great, and I'm glad that I'm just glad we could finally get around to it. More Westerns to come in the future, but before then.
Yeah, so February, and this is kind of partially Brayton's idea, but at the same time, it's such a wonderful birthday gift from him.
I had to throw him a bone after I'm never going to show anything on this show. So.
Sorry, I was in a bad mood that day. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, guess
You
what?
had to pull a grumpy Winnie the Pooh on me. But go ahead.
I am grumpy Winnie the Pooh. Now that you mention it, I gotta change that. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we've okay. So Brayton has been a very good curator of the films we've been watching for the last 16 episodes, so to speak.
Yeah.
But all of February, and again, Brayton came up with this idea and signed off.
Oh
on
yeah.
it.
You're trying to just toss me out there just in case.
I'm a little scared because for February, it's all movie choices from me, and it's all going to be new to Brayton.
Wait, Nude Brayton?
New to Brayton.
Nude Brayton?
No, new to Brayton.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how'd you get those videos?
Yeah. Well, Patrick knows a guy. He's called Patrick.
I knew that hotel room was sabotaged.
That giant basket with a snake you can see inside, and when you open it, it looks
Not
like
since the Hulk Hogan sex tape has there been a more horrific display of
yeah, I can imagine like
a lot less racial profanities. Though.
yeah, it's like dark hallway, like you're doing like a dance in your like underwear, and there's like just Patrick shows up in the corner with a camcorder. It's like yes, keep dancing. No, so yeah, February is going to be Raph and Shoma month. I'm going to pick 4 movies.
And show month.
In Shoma, hey, good pun. Yeah, so I'm going to pick 4 movies, possibly 3 because February is a very short month. But yeah, we got some neat little goodies coming up. We're going to discuss what we're going to do next week. But we'll save it as a surprise. But we'll come back next week. It'll be a Raph movie.
Yeah, we'll decide what the hell's going on by then.
Yes. So, but no, we're both tired.
But let's just say Raph is responsible for whatever we're going to see. See what the thing is here. You want to suggest something that you would suggest to anybody. We'll get to guilty pleasures later, but typically whatever movie I suggest that we watch. It's a movie that I really like. Number one, have seen recently, and doesn't have disturbing, offensive elements in it. But I'm sure you'll go with that too. You won't pick anything that will shock us, in a negative, anti-Semitic way, will you?
Viper GTS Brayton.
Oh, I'm afraid to ask.
Yeah, no, don't.
Isn't that a horrifying Japanese sex cartoon?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Sadly, it's also one of the few ones that is wholesome and everybody survives at the end.
Yeah, is wholesome
Relatively speaking.
Wholesome with a W or wholesome with an HOLE?
Well, let's ask Sam Elliott. I like it very much. There's, boobs and dicks. Sam Elliott, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me today.
Let's ask Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr. Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we do have one last request, though, and before we end the night, let me prepare tonight's final video. Hold on. What's going on here?
What's going on?
Hey.
And I say, hey. Have you heard the original song of that, not just the He-Man version?
No, I have not.
It's a lot cooler, a lot groovier, actually.
Okay.
Because the He-Man one is hilarious, but this is the more serious version. I think it's just called "What's Going On" by somebody. I don't know the band's name. Some girl band.
Okay. So, but yeah, let me. Okay, I got the final video ready to go. But
Okay.
no, yeah. So next week, should I just tell them the 4 titles we have in mind, or let's just bring it up on them?
Do you have 4 titles definitely locked and loaded?
Yes.
Okay, we'll tell those here, and then the order of them will be a surprise to everyone.
Okay, so we will be doing Inner Space by Joe Dante. Oh damn it. Okay,
We'll just be watching that 4 times.
An Adventure in Time and Space, the Doctor Who docudrama.
Yep.
Oh crap, I forgot what the other ones were. Damn it. Oh shit, there was other ones I wanted to show you.
I think you mentioned Safety Last.
Yes, Safety
Which
Last.
would be our first silent film.
Our first silent film. In fact, let's do Safety Last as our. Let's start the month off on a good note. So I think we should do Safety Last. And then there was. Oh damn it! The 4th movie. What was the 4th film?
Short Circuit.
No. We might do Short Circuit for later because I think those movies might be good just to play throughout the year normally, not as a guilty pleasure. So, damn it. Okay, well, it might be an animated movie I was thinking of.
Oh,
So-
The Lost Unicorn.
yes,
Last Unicorn.
yes, the Last Unicorn, Safety Last, Adventure in Time and
Space,
Space,
and Adventure in
and
Time.
Inner Space. Yeah, those are the 4 movies we're gonna do in February.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll make the job way easier on you, but it's all on me, and I got to do the research and prepare notes and all that. So, the pressure.
I know.
So, and
It's not that hard.
yeah, but no, thank you, Brayton. So you're a great co-host. And before we play the final video, we do have one last request from I think it's Goji Shea. He wants us to end the night in Terry Thomas voices saying goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. I hope you do stop by soon. I'll prepare some cheese and crackers, and we can talk with my little sarcastic dog here, Gromit, and we can have some cheese, and that's right. Yes, indeed. Oh.
It's so good to be here on the movie Graveyard Shift. It's
That damn diabolic.
We'll get that diabolic eventually. Ooh.
So,
Jolly good no one got hurt. It is a mad, mad, mad world, after
Yes,
all.
I'm Sir Hiss.
okay, good night, ladies and
Does
gentlemen.
that satiate you?
Yeah, I think. Well, me, but also Goji Shea is laughing his ass off. So, all right, we'll see you next. We'll see you soon for RAF month. Bum bum bum. All right, good
Print
night.
the legend.